Hola to my sisters and hello to the rest of the fam. My name is Tamika Walker Kelly, your favorite music teacher, and I'm a proud member of the Harambee Graduate Chapter in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I am coming to you today as an elementary music specialist, K through 5, and president of the North Carolina Association of Educators. It is the largest organization for public school workers in the state of North Carolina, and we are the state affiliate to the National Education Association, which is the largest labor union in the United States. So, as you know, COVID 19 is a global pandemic and it has affected our communities much harder than it has others. And as we navigate this global pandemic, it has affected all aspects of our lives, and one of them being our schools. So while school buildings are closed, learning must still continue. And so many school districts have made the transition to the virtual learning space. So I'm here to give you just a few helpful tips to help you navigate virtual learning for your child and for you. So, tip number 1, make sure that your child has a quiet space for learning. Now, it can be a whole separate room in your house. It could be a quiet place in the living room. It could be a quiet place at the table. But find a place where your child can be able to focus on learning and instruction without distractions. So you can go out, you can purchase materials, you can purchase decorations, you could get trifo boards I've seen all over social media to block off any distractions. You can do all that, and that is great to replicate an environment that is conducive to learning, but you don't have to do all that. Just find a place in your home or in your dwelling that allows your child to focus intently on the instruction that is being delivered. Tip number 2, make sure that you set the expectations for your child's participation in virtual learning and also know the schedule. Now, I didn't separate those two because I think they are intertwined, right? So you might have gotten a school schedule from your child's teacher about how long the virtual day is supposed to be. Make sure you know when your child is supposed to be participating in instruction. Now, you may have heard terms like synchronous, which is live instruction, meaning the teacher is directly teaching content to your child, or asynchronous, which means the instructional part has been recorded for your child to access at times that are convenient for them. Make sure you know when your child is supposed to be logged onto the computer and when your child is supposed to be working on independent individual work. It is also really important for you to set expectations around your child's participation. So, first, you've heard a lot about schools asking children to prescribe to a dress code to participate in virtual learning. Well, you want to make sure that you set the expectation of how your child approaches virtual learning. Are they supposed to wear their school uniform? Are they allowed to wear whatever they like? Are they allowed to have their camera on or off, right? You set those expectations for your child. Now, part of virtual learning, like I said, in establishing a quiet place, is also establishing how do you want your child to interact with their peers as well. So you might want to be very sure to go over a tech code of ethics or a tech agreement that you signed with the school, particularly if you were loaned a device from your school or school district, because you want to, of course, monitor your child's behavior online. Now, it's just good practice in total to know what kinds of activities your child are participating in online. But I just want you to know about some of the things that are happening as of late. So you've heard of Zoom bombing. It's been all over the news. right? But also, some of our middle school and high school children are participating in a Cuss the Teacher Out challenge and some other things like that. So you want to make sure to have a conversation with your child about what is acceptable behavior in the virtual learning environment, right? Because that might violate a tech agreement that you might have signed, or you and your child might have signed with the school district, and you want to be very aware of that. And then the last thing within that tip that I want you to be mindful of is screen time. Now, we already talked about there are live parts of virtual instruction and things that are recorded. And so you want to factor in how much screen time your child is getting throughout the school day and the whole day in total. So we know that too much screen time is detrimental to students, not only to their physical well-being when we talk about eye strain and Zoom fatigue, but also just developmentally when we talk about finding information online or spaces online that can be harmful. And so you want to make sure that you are being mindful of how much time that they spend looking at screens and balancing the time that they're in instruction with their free time and how much time they spend on a tablet, on a computer, using their phones, and all, etc. And then the last tip I want to leave you with, tip number 3, is communication. So as a parent or guardian who is having a student participate in virtual learning, you want to make sure that you are in constant communication with your child's teacher and with the school. Now, if you moved over the summer, if you need to update your phone number, your email address, do that with the school. Sometimes it's really hard to locate students and families from the school perspective because people change their information so much, especially when you get a new cell phone number, right? Now, lots of people don't have landlines anymore, but make sure that you update your information with the school. Likewise, pay attention to how you want to communicate with your child's teacher as well. Let them know if you have a preference. Let them know that you prefer to be contacted via email versus telephone. If you're using any other communication aids or messaging with your child's teacher, a class dojo, a remind, a Google number, let your child's teacher know so that they can keep you updated on your child's progress during the school year. And also let your child's teacher know if you're having difficulty with the virtual learning. Now, we know that virtual learning has been an experience because we went through it in the spring, and the fall has been better, but it's still a challenge. It's a challenge for you as parents, it's a challenge for kids, and it's challenging for educators, especially having to make the transition very quickly. And with educators at varying levels in different content areas, that transition has not been seamless. So overall, give each other some grace during this time because we all need grace at some point or another. And it's really important that in order to make it through these difficult times, that we extend grace to one another. Now, if you are not a parent, if you are not an educator, but you want to know how can you support educators, students, and families at this time, if you have access to technology devices, if you have a community organization, aside from being in Swing Fi Swing or Groove Fi Groove, if you're watching this video, if you know of community resources that you can point students and families to, please offer that to your school and school districts. Now, many schools and school districts have different rules about vetting community organizations, but school community partnerships are critical to the success of students because schools are hubs in the community. Everybody knows their neighborhood school. They know that the teachers live in the community or they are familiar with the community. And so it's really important that we pour resources into our schools, especially our public schools, because they absolutely need them. And Fam, how can you support your educators during this time? Gosh, please just tell an educator thank you. Go ahead and text a swing educator that you know and tell them thank you for the work that they do. It is really hard right now to be an educator. Our president, 45, is trying to say that educators are essential, and educators are important. Yes, they are. But they are trying to make people go back into school buildings that are not safe. And we've lost educators already to COVID-19, and we can't lose any more. So go ahead and text an educator and tell them thank you. A simple thank you goes a long way. You can send a gift or a note or something like that, but really a thank you goes a long way. And I want you to know, from this educator to our swing family, thank you so much for your support, and help out your swing educators by continuing to lift up the good work that we do in the communities and the good work that we do overall as an organization. So, my name is Tamika Walker Kelly, again, your favorite music teacher, and I am glad to share this video with you. If you have any questions about the things I shared here, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be glad to be a resource to you. Hola to my sisters. Thank you to the rest of the family, and I hope this was helpful. Bye.